Everyone, welcome to this wonderful episode of Business Corporate Training, and it's brought to you by Sadaf Tahir. Sadaf is going to be the person anchoring this program. Sadaf is a communication and soft skill trainer. So, and this program is proudly brought to you by CoinNewsExtra. And today's topic is emotional intelligence. Sadaf will take you through. Stay tuned and enjoy the program. Thank you. Sadaf, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Thank you so much once again, CoinNewsExtra, for reaching out to me for this amazing program, which is on emotional intelligence. And as you rightly said, that this skill, emotional intelligence, is actually one of the most asked and most required skill set of the year 2020. And it has been one skill set which has been the most in demand from the past 5 years. And that's what we're going to talk about in this 20-minute of a session that we have. So no matter what field you're in and what work you're into, AI is one skill which is the most in demand and which will help you immensely achieve what you want in life. Let me actually run you through first a quote which is by Warren G. Bennis, and he said that EI is one skill that accounts for at least 85 to 90% of your success at work. Now you can imagine the importance that this particular skill set, emotional intelligence, holds in if you want to be successful at work in your professional life. In fact, EI is one skill which is very crucial even if you want a sorted personal life too, because at the end of the day, if you look at the two alphabets combined, the two words combined, it is emotions and intelligence, and you require emotions in not just your personal life but in your professional life too, and dealing with emotions in the right way. So if you might think that nothing seems to work, try EI, try building up your EI skills. And if you want to build up your EI skills, stay tuned. We will cover everything that you need to encapsulate or you need to bring along within yourself if you want to be a person who's regarded as someone with a higher EI. So if you look at the word emotion and intelligence, it's actually, if I break it down very simply, it's a combination of feelings and rationality. So something that deals with anger, your disappointment, you're hurt, you're depressed, you're sad, and then rationality, controlling your emotional outburst, responding and not reacting. So it's a combination of both your head as well as heart, if you can see from the picture. And this term, emotional intelligence, actually helps you immensely in managing your emotions, understanding not just your emotions, but someone else's emotions, using emotions well, as well as perceiving what other person thinks, because many a times either in a personal or professional setup we don't really understand how the other person is feeling. So someone who is high on EI would actually have an understanding of all these four parameters that we've just talked about. This term was actually coined up by Peter Salvoy and John Mayer, and popularized by Dan Goleman in 1996. So as they came up with EI, they said that EI or EQ is the ability to recognize, is the ability to understand and manage our emotions as well as the emotions of other people. That means you understand, you recognize, and influence the emotions of other people too. Now, I'm sure all of us know this personality. It is none other than the co-founder and CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk. And before this coronavirus pandemic hit, he came up with a tweet which says that the coronavirus panic is dumb. Uh, on the other hand, Mr. Bill Gates, uh, this is what he tweeted, and he said that how to respond to COVID-19. Now, we must understand that both these personalities are people who are very well known across not just their countries but across the entire world. Now, if you look at the kind of choice of words that Mr. Bill Gates has used and the one that Elon Musk, on the other hand, has used, there's a stark difference. So when someone holds a position like that, there are a lot of people who can get influenced by the way you talk, by the way you communicate with other people. So if you look at it, what he has tweeted, Mr. Bill Gates has tweeted, it says that I hope it's not bad, but we should assume that it will be until we know otherwise. So it's there's a tone of cautiousness plus protection and care for the people, whereas on the other hand, we don't really it says that it's dumb. It's a very strong word that is used, and many a times it can lead to a lot of social media backlash. So many people might think that why is it that I need emotional intelligence, or when would I need to actually have emotional intelligence? So when you want to receive feedback, when you want to give feedback, or you are in a very tight deadline, and submission of deadlines is something that you have or at your plate all the time, that is when again you'll need emotional intelligence as to how you deal with a lot of pressure. And many a times giving feedback is something which is not taken in a very positive stride. So you need one needs a lot of patience, and one needs to right choice of words so that your message is communicated right and taken in the right stride. When someone is dealing with very challenging relationship, it can either be at work or it can be at a personal front. When someone doesn't have enough resources, when one is dealing with change, when one is dealing with setbacks and failures. Now look at all the six parameters that we've just discussed right now. At every point one would need this skill set called as EI. And if there's one thing that one notices in all the six pointers that I've listed down here, they all deal with some or the other kind of stress. And when it comes to workplace, we all deal with stress. Who doesn't? In fact, not just at workplace, even in our personal lives we do deal with stress. uh, Having this skill set of EI, especially in the current pandemic, in the current times that the world is grappling with, if one has EI as his skill, he can actually not just be successful, but he is one leader who can influence many people across. So that's one skill set. If you're looking for a job in this current pandemic, one skill that you should and you must develop and you must have is the skill of emotional intelligence. Again, there's one example that I want to give to all of you. There was a large cosmetics company that actually revised their hiring process for salespeople, and they actually decided to select candidates on the basis of whether they actually had EI skill or not. Now, can you even guess what the results were after they hired salespeople, the ones who actually had EI as their skill set? The result was the people which were hired with the new system, they actually sold more than $91,000 compared to the salespeople under the old system. So, which business is the one that does not care for selling its product, or who does not look for business development? Companies spend lakhs in millions and billions on advertisements, but having salespeople who actually have this skill set of EI can actually boost their sales and increase the profit margin, or the bottom line, as companies call it. Also, it did not just result in a higher sales turnover, but also resulted in a lower staff turnover, because eventually employees are the biggest assets. So you train an employee, there's a lot of time that goes on, time, energy, cost that goes on in training an employee until unless he becomes productive, and then immediately, if at all they leave, the entire cost is wasted. So a lower staff turnover, that means your staff, you're able to retain your staff for a longer time, is actually a huge benefit for the companies. So having EI as a skill set, because the managers or the senior management knows exactly how to deal with people. Eventually we are all dealing with people, and having the skill set of EI will immensely help you retain your staff. So this skill set of EI not just boosted on a higher sales, but even helped companies having a lower staff turnover. Now you might think, why is it that EI is crucial? we just discussed 2 pointers, but again, if you look at all the pointers that are mentioned in here, why is it that EI is crucial? It helps increasing team performance. It helps in reducing whatever stress or occupational stress that one goes through. It improves decision makings. It improves leadership ability. It helps in a personal well-being. It also, I think we've discussed this point, it helps maintain your staff level, reducing of staff turnover ratio. Now, if after all this talk that we've had, I'm sure everyone must be wondering, how is it that I can build my EI? What is it that is required on my part to build emotional intelligence? So there are 5 skill sets that one needs to be qualified as an emotionally intelligent person. Now, there might be variations of all of this, but because this is one, EI is one skill that encapsulates 5 different skill sets. So, of course, one might be lower, one might be higher, but a combination of all these 5 works wonders. So, answer a yes or no. So, if you know what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what kind of social cues or signals you send, do you know when is it that you're about to lose your temper? Are you completely aware of your strengths, your weaknesses? Uh, if you are aware of your weaknesses, what are the steps for improvement that you need to incorporate? Do you know what is it that others think of you? Now, for majority of these questions that I've just asked all of you, uh, was your reply in a yes or a no? If majority of them, or at least let's say out of the 6, if you could answer at least 4 of them in a yes, then congratulations, you actually have key skill number 1 to be qualified as an emotionally intelligent person, and that is self awareness. So the more self aware you are of what is your strengths, of what are your weaknesses, what kind of signals you send when you communicate with people, it can either be verbal cues or it can be non verbal cues. Then all these cues, all these signals that one sends, if you are aware of all these things, then congratulations, you actually self aware, you know yourself. And of course, the more interaction that we have with people, the more self-aware we become of our strengths, of our weaknesses, of our communication, of our, it can be anything, or even of our written communication, or even of our listening skills. I'm sure many a times we get this uh, particular dialogue that you're impatient or you don't listen well. So listen to all these feedback that we get from people, because then they're making us more aware of who we are as an individual. That is skill number 1 if one wants to build their emotional intelligence. That means first you have to be aware of your own self, only then you will be able to manage other people. That is the first skill that you need to have to be a more emotionally intelligent person. Moving on to skill number 2. All right. All right, let's say this. There's a situation that I've given here, that imagine that you're actually traveling from China to your home country, let's say India, because I'm in India right now, so that's why I've given this example. And imagine that you're actually sitting very comfortably in your business class seat when all of a sudden you start coughing and the passengers around create a panic, saying that you're infected with COVID 19. They asked the pilot to throw you out of the aircraft, and despite your multiple requests that it was just due to cold weather and no one listens, one of the passenger grabs your arms and literally throws you and your luggage out of the aircraft, and the police comes and handcuffs you. So I know there's a lot of drama that is going on, agreed, but still, if all this happens, what would be your immediate reaction? What is it that you will do? And I've asked this question to multiple people. I've got the answer saying that I would cry, I would fight, I would be very angry, I would yell, I would shout. Um, and that simply means that if your answer was that you're able to control yourself and manage your anger and see how to respond to the situation well in a more peaceful, calm, and patient manner, then you actually have skill number 2, which is self-regulation of emotional intelligence. That means if you're able to self-regulate, that then that means you're able to actually control your impulsive feelings and behavior. You don't have bursts of anger. Uh, you adapt to changing circumstances, you think before you act, you randomly don't just go by your feelings, by your gut, and do what is right. There has to be a thought process involved before you say something, or before you act the way you do. um, the people who are emotionally intelligent, they don't allow themselves to become too angry or too jealous. So many a times there are people who get bursts of anger, and uh, they actually visit a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists to help them deal with it. It actually signifies that probably one of the levels of self-regulation. That means if one is not able to control his or her own emotions, then he won't be able to control other people too. Imagine yourself that you're a leader or a manager of a company, and you have multiple people under you. If one is not able to control his or anger or his or her own emotions, then they won't be able to control, or they won't be able to manage, if that's the right word, other people as well. The people who are able to self regulate actually are calm, they have thoughtfulness, they have an amazing skill of conflict management, as well as they have the ability to say no to other people. Now, when I say self regulation, it does not actually mean, now, there are many people who get this confused. It does not really mean that you're locking your emotions, that you're locking your anger, and you're hiding your true feelings. No, that is not the idea. In fact, anger is actually good sometimes if you direct it in the right path. So, I'm not asking people to control their emotions. No, what I'm saying is express it the right way. Wait for the right time, place, and avenue to express emotions. Sudden bursts of anger is can actually lead to a lot of loss than gain that one might think. It might be able to release the stress immediately, but then for a longer time, it won't really help. That is why they say that when you're too angry, don't write emails and don't talk to people at that point of time, because what might come out of your mouth, it can lead to a lot of chaos later. So that's skill number two. So skill number one, what we learned was self-awareness. Skill number two that we just covered is self-regulation. That means you know yourself. Secondly, you're able to control your emotions. That is self-regulation. All right, number three. Now, many of us actually have this difficult questions that how many of us has consistently failed of a new resolution of either becoming fit of or of gaining jobs, or of it could be any new year resolution. That every year by the start of year we make these new year resolutions, and many a times we tend to fail. There are some people who have majority of them that I've come across have issues when it comes to communication skills or confidence or public speaking as their weakness, and still they do actually don't do anything about it. uh, there are some people that I've come across, and they say that they failed at one particular skill. They tried something, and they realized that they were not really good, and they gave it up forever. When was the last time you actually proactively took up a task and actually finished it efficiently and effectively, even if it was not your domain or your forte of work? And then the lastly, how many of us are actually aware of what our long-term goals are and actually working towards it to achieve that particular goal or that particular task? And if you were able to answer all these difficult questions the right way, then without any self embarrassment, then you actually possess skill number three of being an emotionally intelligent person, and that is self motivation. So the people who are emotionally intelligent actually don't rely on other people or on outside help to help them achieve their goals or to help them motivate themselves. The people who are emotionally intelligent are actually self motivated. They don't depend on an outside factor or an outside force to help them achieve their goals or their tasks. And I actually have four brilliant examples for all of you here. Um, the person who came up with Starbucks, Howard Schultz, if he was if he did not have self motivation, despite the fact that the idea of Starbucks was turned down by 242 times, 242 times the idea of Starbucks was turned down, and it was said no. But despite that, he did not give up. The idea of the concept of Disneyland, which is every person's dream to at least visit once in his or her lifetime. If Walt Disney had actually decided to quit too soon, despite his theme park concept was turned down, trashed actually 302 times, there would actually be no Disneyland. We all know the amazing world of Hogwarts and Harry Potter. If J.K. Rowling actually was turned down by multiple 13 major publishing houses of the Harry Potter novel, we would not have experienced the amazing magical world of Harry Potter and Hogwarts. And then one thing is for sure, that all these brilliant people, and there are many examples, I'm sure of it, uh, despite the fact that these people have had to listen to no multiple times, they did not give up. They actually self motivated themselves and kept on working towards their goal. Uh, to achieve, and now we know that they didn't just achieve success, but they set a benchmark for the entire world to see, that see, this is what the epitome of self motivation and success and being successful is. So that is skill number 3. Don't rely on outside factors or on someone else to be self motivated or to give you that boost of energy to actually work on your dreams or your goals. That's a third skill. The people who are actually self motivated, they're very highly productive, they're committed, they love challenges, they're proactive, they take up on tasks and they make sure to finish it. They set very high goals of themselves, and they always look for ways to do better. So let's say if you are a great communicator, but you always learn some new words or listen to some great TED talks or great speakers, that means you're actually looking for ways to improve yourself and make yourself better. That is one skill of self motivation. um, there's always an interest in learning. Now, this one again advice I would want to give, one mantra of self motivation is that always have the idea of learning, relearning, and unlearning. One major uh, thing that we people suffer from is I know everything, or we hesitate in saying I don't know. It is absolutely okay to say I don't know, or go ahead by saying that okay, let me try, or I'm not aware of this. It is absolutely fine to not know a few things. That's absolutely okay. That is what makes us human. So have the attitude of learning, relearning, and unlearning, because just like technology, even knowledge gets obsolete. So even our phones, actually, when they are able to update themselves, the apps that we use, if they update themselves on a regular basis, then we are human beings, we need to update ourselves. Let's move on to skill number 3. I'm sorry, skill number 4, and that is empathy. Uh, Please understand that there's a very fine line between empathy and sympathy, and to to make you understand the difference between empathy and sympathy, let's say you had a friend who was actually bullied, and he comes crying, and what is it that you will say to him? He was bullied by his classmates, and he comes back to you in the hostel room, and he comes back crying. What is it that you will say to him? It's a very serious issue, and how is it that you will console him? What is it that you will say to him? Saying things like, what happened was really bad, bullies shouldn't be tolerated, I feel sorry for you, try to relax, have a fresh start, I'm feeling very bad for you. That is sympathy. If you, as a child during school, you were bullied too, you know exactly how that other person is feeling, and you say that I know how it feels because I was bullied too, and that immediately would catch the attention. So that is a fine line between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is when you feel sorry for the person, you sympathize with his loss or with his sadness. Empathy is knowing exactly how the other person is feeling because you've been in that same situation too before. That is the difference between empathy and sympathy. And if you're able to understand exactly how the other person is feeling, then you'll know exactly how to deal with that situation in a much better manner. That is skill number 4 of emotional intelligence. So the more experiences that we have, the more interactions that we have, that actually builds up on this skill of empathy and sympathy. So the people who are actually empathetic, they're able to understand and identify what is it that other people want, what is it that they need. And obviously, the people who actually are empathetic, no better example, no better people to deal with the situation that the other person is grappling with. Now, instead of judging, of course, that is one key aspect. Instead of judging the other person or labeling him as weak or ignorant, they'll actually work very hard to see through their eyes, because they're actually in their shoes as to how the other person is feeling. The people who have empathy, they are excellent at managing relationships, listening and relating to other people, because obviously you've been through the same situation too. So this one habit of being empathetic immensely helps, not just in one's personal life but in professional life too. In fact, if people have empathy, 90% of the problems in their lives, be it personal or be it professional, would be solved, because you'll know exactly how the other person is feeling. And that is one thing that we don't understand, as to how the person in front of us or the people that we're dealing with who are around us, we don't know exactly how it is that they feel, because there's a lot of communication gap that we have. So if one builds on to this skill of being empathetic, the communication that people have, the hesitation of communication that people have when they're dealing with people, would actually improve a lot. Finally, the last one, if you can easily talk to people and the reality is talking to you, if you focus on actually helping others develop and shine rather than your own success first, and that is one skill that leaders do a lot. That there are leaders who, when the team performs bad, he actually takes up the blame. But when the team performs really well, he actually puts the team forward and goes behind. If you can manage disputes well, conflict management, if you possess excellent clear crystal communication is what you're good at. If you're master at building and maintaining relationships, like there are many entrepreneurs and people who own companies, there are the many people of the company, that they know each and every individual of the company by their names. So why is it that entrepreneurs or business heads or people at higher organization or at higher level of the cadre do that? That is because people want to be known and be recognized by their name, and they want to build and maintain that relationship with their employees. Then you actually possess key skill 5 of emotional intelligence, and that is social skills. That means you know exactly how to deal with people. And what is social skills? Your ability to mingle with people, your ability to deal with people, and that is key skill 5 of emotional intelligence. So to sum it all up, social skills, your ability to pick up on jokes, sarcasm, customer service, maintaining friendships with people around, finding common ground to talk with others. uh, some major things that will help you be develop on your social skills would be listening skills, because the more we are able to listen, the better we can communicate. Your verbal communication skills, your non-verbal communication skills, your leadership, persuasiveness, uh, one's ability to make sure that what he said is perceived the right way by others and is accepted by others. And then to sum up all the 5 skills that we've just talked about, EI comprises of self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. The combination of all these 5 skill sets actually makes you a highly emotional intelligence person. To reiterate what the quote that I started with, 80 to 90% of your success at work, 85 to 90% of your success at work actually depends on one single skill set, and that is emotional intelligence. And given the current scenario that we're in right now and the world is grappling with right now, uh, it is for a fact, there's no absolutely no denying that the highly emotional intelligence you possess, the higher are your chances of success, not just at work but even in your professional life. With that, we end the session. I hope you enjoyed the session and you liked and you learned a lot from it. Thank you so much, Coin News Extra, for having me once again. Uh, it was great to talk about EI.
Thank you very much, Sada, for this wonderful presentation. Emotional intelligence is really, really a nice one. Even me listening, I also jotted some things from this presentation. It's a very good one, most especially this scenario that we are facing, these challenges, pandemics that we are facing, the current one should have emotional skills. So that's very excellent. We are supposed to have this program Saturday, so due to some circumstances, we moved it to Sunday. So hopefully it will return on Saturdays, same time,
Okay.
same place. Thank you very much, Sadaf. See you next week.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Okay.